Hello, dear students, and welcome to a new lesson for English learners in grade 7. My name is Sanja Božinović, and I will be your English teacher today. Our today's topic is cultural identity. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to understand the short text about cultural identity, and you will be able to talk about cultural identity. Also, you will be able to understand and explain the danger of generalizations, stereotypes, and prejudices. For today's lesson, you need your device with the internet connection, a QR code scanner, and your notebook. If you have everything you need, let's start. Look at the list of words on this slide. Rituals, music, heritage, politics, art, food, traditions, and so on. Read all the words. Copy them into your notebook. Can you explain what each of them means? If there are some words that are not known to you, please look them up in your dictionary and write their meaning, the definition, into your notebook. Now think, which of these words could help you define what cultural identity is? What is cultural identity to you? Which of these words could you use to create your own definition, to explain in your own words what it means to you? Write your own definition into your notebook. Look at these two definitions. The first one defines the identity. It says the identity of a person or the identity of a place is all the characteristics they have, the person or the place, that distinguish them from others. So your characteristics that make you different from other people are your identity. Cultural means relating to a particular society, the ideas, the customs, the art in that society. That's cultural. Read carefully and think. Do you agree with these definitions? If you agree, you can copy them into your notebook. You can also go back to your own definition and compare. How similar, how different is your definition from what you can see and read on this slide? Let's take a look at the words from the previous slide, the list of words that help us define cultural identity. And let's check that you know what all of them mean. Can you match the words and their meanings? You can access this exercise on WordWall if you use the link that you can see on this slide, the bit.ly cultural identity one, or you can scan the code. Please pause this video and try to complete this exercise. If there are words that you are not sure what they mean, please copy them into your notebook and learn what they mean. Let's read. The text for reading can be accessed if you copy the link bit.ly cultural identity 2, or you can scan the code that you can see in the top right-hand corner. When you scan the code or copy the link into your browser, you will find the text to read. It's a blog post. Read it and find the words from the previous exercise. When you are reading the text, please underline the words that you recognize from the previous exercise. Then make a list of the words as they appear in the text. Copy them into a notebook. Finally, answer the questions. The text is about a boy named Lovro. What has shaped his identity and how? Use the words from the list. They will help you answer this question. Let's think about our own identities. We are similar, but we are also very different. Everybody's unique. Now let's pick from the list of words that you have in your notebook. Which words would you use to define your identity? Which of the words are useful? if you want to talk about yourself. Pick them, choose them, copy them on the left-hand side. Then think about what else you would like to say about yourself that hasn't been mentioned. Think of the words that you need to define yourself, to define your identity that haven't been mentioned. Write them in the table. You will need them for later. Before you start preparing a talk about your own cultural identity, let's stop and think about 3 things to avoid. And they are generalizations, stereotypes, and prejudices. If you're not sure you know what these 3 words mean, please copy them into your notebook. Think what you know about them and then check in your dictionary. Generalization is general statement, indefinite statement about something or somebody that should be unique, individual, and you generalize. And of course, that can't be good. Stereotype is your fixed and always oversimplified idea of a type of person or thing, which is not the same as the reality. Again, that's not the right thing to do. Finally, sometimes people have prejudices. They have opinions, they have feelings that do not result from knowing a person or a place, but from an unreasonable fixed idea before you meet them. So you sometimes don't like somebody or something before you get to know them, which is definitely not good. Copy the words, think about how sure you are what they mean, and then try to go back to the reading text. The questions for you are, has Laura experienced generalization, stereotype, prejudice in his life? Find the information in the text. What happened? And how did it make him feel? After reading and analyzing the text about Laura, let's turn our focus, our attention to your own life, to your own identity. Please read carefully the questions that you can see on this slide and answer them about your life. Has anybody that you know experienced anything similar to Laura's story? In your notebook, start your answer. You can say, a friend of mine has, or you can say, I have experienced something. Please be careful to use the present perfect. Question 2. What happened? Now we are focusing on the details of the story, on the facts. What happened? How did it make you feel, your friend feel? When you describe the details, the facts that happened in the past, use the simple past. Pay attention to the regular and irregular verbs. Question 3. What do you think about it? Now that you think about that experience and how similar it is to Laura's story and how it fits into our definitions of cultural identity, stereotype, prejudice, and generalization, what do you think about it? In your notebook, start your answer with I think. Please use the present simple. Please pause this video, think about how you can answer these questions, and write your answers in your notebook. If you need, you can consult the story, the text for reading from the previous slide. It's time to use all the information and all our thoughts and ideas into the speaking task. Prepare your talk. It will be a 1-minute talk, and it will be about your cultural identity. You will use the vocabulary, the words from the list. and the grammar, the present perfect, simple past, present simple, and you will choose from the list of words a few words that you need to describe the important aspects of your identity. You don't need to use them all, but think of the explanation and think about some examples to illustrate what you are saying about yourself. Don't forget to include the characteristics that make you unique. Avoid generalizing, avoid stereotypes, and especially avoid prejudices. In the conclusion, give your opinion on why you listed the characteristics, why those words, why those characteristics define you. Your opinion is the conclusion of your 1-minute talk. This checklist will help you organize your talk well. Before you share your talk with your teacher or you talk in public, please check that you have all the ticks. Have you organized your talk in a way that it lasts for 1 minute and the topic is your cultural identity? Have you used 5 or more keywords from the first list in this lesson? Have you mentioned the danger of generalizations, stereotypes, and prejudices? Is your talk in 3 parts? First, the introduction, then the body in which you give the examples, the facts and examples, and the conclusion in which you give your opinion. Have you talked in full sentences and respected the rules of grammar that we mentioned? Spoken loudly, clearly, and finally, and most importantly, have you created a logical and respectful talk? If yes, you are ready to share it with your teacher and your classmates. Let's be creative. You can accompany your talk with a poster. Why don't you create a poster to illustrate your talk about your cultural identity? The poster will help you and will make your talk more interesting to your classmates and your teacher. Also, if you like drawing, you can draw your personal totem pole. You know, the poles that American indigenous people, the Indians as we call them, used to have. You can choose some symbols that represent your characteristics, and you can draw a pole that represents your cultural identity. In both of these cases, remember to avoid generalizations, stereotypes, and prejudices, and remember to be logical and respectful. The last activity in today's lesson is your exit card. We have learned a lot, we have thought about cultural identities of other people and your own cultural identity. Take your notebook and write a short paragraph about the most important thing that you have learned in this lesson. When you finish writing, that will be the end of today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed learning about cultural identity. Goodbye until our next lesson.